They're like, we told you the Avengers would handle it. They handled it, didn't they?
Get the fuck out of here, dog. That's like...
What is the word? It is Lord Third, your number one trash player, aka the garbage goat, the man with a plan, the only one who can stand the test of time. And I am joined
by the legend, the ranger, no greater than a stranger, the king of dreams, looking so clean, so mean, got a haircut so recently, looking curly, looking fresh, sitting here with the best. And we are...
the Sly Guys, delivering the hottest of hot takes on all things nerdy in culture. And we have a treat for you all. A wonderful, wonderful treat. I don't know. This one has kind of been going on forever, right? This one might even say it's infinite. One might even say it's Eternal. Oh! We're going to talk about the Eternals today. So, by the time that you are hearing this, it will have been a few weeks, but the Eternals trailer dropped. The initial trailer dropped. More than likely, there will be another trailer in about a month from now. But, we've got to talk about it.
I want to say this. It's not a hot take until we take a take on it. Look, it ain't hot until we talk about it.
Indeed.
So we might have taken a couple weeks to get this out to you, or by the time you all listen to this, it's now a hot take.
Indeed.
That's all it is. Anything before that, it ain't nothing. Because that's what we bring to the table, baby. That's what we bring to the table.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how everyone's trying to go Marvel. Everyone's trying to be on that Marvel paycheck, on that Marvel call list. Who wants to be in the next Marvel movie?
Everybody. Who? Why? Everyone because you know that these movies make bank. Goodness gracious. But the Eternals just dropped, and as stated before, as King just alluded to, there's a bunch of people in it. We were hearing about it for a while. They got Angelina Jolie, Chloe Zhao, the Oscar award-winning director, is directing. Also, you got Kumail Nanjiani in it as well.
Yes, hilarious. He went from "That's not my daughter" he went from "Give me a hug" to "That's not my daughter." Because this man got cut for this movie, and no one wants to talk about it. This guy got cut for this movie.
I mean, people were certainly talking about it because it came out of nowhere. But this dude got beefed up.
He got beefed up for this movie. Like, he's the guy that was in that Taxi Driver movie, or the
Stuber.
Stuber movie, screaming, the future is female. He went from future is female to a straight up Chad in this Marvel movie with the way he looks. Like, dude went from beta to alpha. Like, he gives hope to everyone that's just the funny guy that can also be the funny and also buff superhero guy. Thank you. Like, look at this guy. Like,
he went from funny guy to being, damn, that's funny guy.
Look at him. His transformation's impeccable.
Yeah. But Eternals trailer dropped. It is hinting to the Eternals coming out of, I don't know, what, like vacation?
Their vacation from somewhere, from doing something. It feels like the Vanguard movie where everyone was immortal. Spoiler alert for that movie.
The Old Guard?
Old Guard, yeah. Sorry, yeah. Old Guard.
Yeah, with Charlize Theron. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like that, but these guys can go into space now for no apparent reason. And now, after their hiatus, In the trailer, they stated, "We've never interfered in man's altercations until now." You mean Thanos twice, Dark Elves, a freaking Hydra? Y'all didn't want to step in on any of that.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many things that y'all could have stepped in on, but yeah, now y'all want. We're gonna come to that. Sorry, I gotta put more of a base. I'm not trying to jump down their throat that soon just yet, but we have a star-studded cast, and these people it's the Eternals are an immortal race, or a race of immortal beings that with superpowers that secretly lived on Earth for thousands of years, and they are coming back to battle the evil deviants, whatever that freaking means. It's very vague. We don't understand it. We have a lot of questions. You got Jon Snow, you got Millie Bobby Brown, and you got Angelina Jolie trying to save her career, because I've seen her in like 4 or 5 movies since this trailer came out for whatever reason. It's nuts to me, because just like Angelina Jolie's career, I didn't want to interfere until now. Why now? Why now? That's the question. Lord, let me ask you the question. Why now? Why do they want to help us now?
Because obviously Marvel wants to make more money. That's like, has that not been obvious previously? They want to make more money?
I mean, with this Phase 4, it feels like everyone that they haven't called yet is trying to be on this list of Marvel heroes. Because I feel like I have a lot of questions for those that are on this team, such as, you didn't want to interfere until now. What's now? Because let's just take after Thanos' snap, when half the universe got snapped out of existence. You didn't want to interfere then, even though Earth, your home, had 2 Infinity Stones on it. Well, actually, more than that. It was 3, right? You had the Time Stone, the Mind Stone, and what was the last one?
Time Stone, Mind Stone, Space Stone, Power Stone, Soul Stone.
This planet's had all the stones at one period or another.
Yeah.
And y'all want to interfere after Thanos is young and old has been stopped? Like, Carol was able to make it back in time to do something. You mean to tell me y'all had us on Do Not Disturb the whole entire time? No emails, no calls? Samuel Jackson is sitting there just profusely texting you, "We need help." And y'all don't get the message. So What are y'all going to help us out with? Because even now, you didn't help us out with Wanda. Wanda had a whole village had a whole village captive. You didn't help us with the Flag Smashers because, Black Captain America had to come out for that one. Y'all didn't help us with that. What's this new one? Actually, those are 2 main ones, isn't it? Where were y'all? Where were you? Where were you? Oh, I'm so excited for this movie, though.
I don't know about excited. I mean, I'm very underwhelmed by this trailer. Like, this showed me really nothing much of anything. I have never really cared about the Eternals in the comics wise. Can
you give us a little backstory on the comics, their comic origin?
Yeah, so for those that don't know, the Eternals are basically a kind of a variant of humans created by kind of like the gods of the Marvel universe called the Celestials, right? And they were tasked with protecting Earth, essentially, by the Celestials, primarily from their destructive counterparts called the Deviants. And so the Eternals comics tend to follow the Eternals as they get into conflicts with the Deviants. Obviously, because of their origin, them kind of being this offshoot of humanity, they are often sometimes at odds with mutants. They're basically kind of they're very similar to mutants or Inhumans, blah blah blah. But yeah, like they were created by these divine beings called the Celestials to protect Earth. So that's the long and short of it. They go all the way back to Jack Kirby's writing for Marvel. You know, like these are some of the byproducts of Jack Kirby's imagination, like many of kind of Bronze Age stuff in Marvel was. So that's who the Eternals are in the comics. I don't know exactly. We've seen previews of the Celestials in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They have not, I don't believe that they've been directly referenced, but I do believe that they're going to take a much larger role in this new phase, because I think it was Arishem that we saw in Guardians 2 when they're showing the like mini worlds and whatnot. I think you see Arishem using one of the Infinity Stones. But yeah, I think this new phase is supposed to be focusing a bit more on the Celestials and the byproducts of the Celestials. So that's kind of the long and short of it. The major thing is it's going to be different from the comics, because it doesn't make sense. Just like you said, most people are pointing out the fact that we didn't interfere until now. Like you said, Thanos came and snapped half of the universe away.
Dog, and he wasn't even subtle about it.
And there wasn't, like, I would say that, sure, the Chitauri invasion, that happened in New York. Sure.
Avengers got it, don't worry about it.
Yeah, Ultron, that happened in Sokovia. That's one country, you know. The Dark Elves, you know, they were that was almost the Earth, but you know, it's primarily Asgard, right?
Yo, look, Thor had that one. Don't worry about it.
But when the purple scrotum-chinned man comes to Earth in order to get rid of half of the life in all of the universe, y'all didn't want to come out of vacation then.
You know what's even crazier? None of them got snapped. Like, none of them got snapped at all in that. That's some bull. It's half. Like, not 50%. None of y'all got on that lottery ticket. Y'all need to be going to the casino.
Yeah.
Apparently, y'all are all on black. Apparently.
Yeah.
Whatever 50.
I mean, it is what it is, but I'm not if I were to tell you that I was excited or that I was even remotely interested in this movie, I would be lying. I don't really care about the I don't really care about the Eternals. Honestly, the only thing that I really care about, so Chloe Zhao, like I said, is directing it. I do like Chloe Zhao as director. But
what's she done as far as movies?
So the biggest thing that she's done recently was Nomadland, with Frances McDormand, and it won a couple of awards it won a couple of awards throughout this award season. It's on Hulu. If you want to check it out, go check it out. It won an Academy Award. But I mean, with that being said, that's really the only thing, because I'm just curious to see how her directorial work is going to transfer. Yeah, she's done a couple of other movies, couple of other dramatic things, primarily, and a couple of them have been either nominated or won awards as well. So yeah, she's pretty notable in that aspect. But that's really the only thing that I'm curious about. I don't feel like this movie is going to be great. I don't feel like it's going to be anything that it's so far from what I've seen, even from as I'm reading the premise, it's just kind of like, you know, it's going to be a movie. Am I going to see it? Most definitely.
100%. We're all going to see that movie because first off, we have this show we got to talk about it on. Get the hottest of our hot takes, so we're forced to do that. Thank you, audience.
Yes.
You put us through this hell, so we're going through hell for you so that you don't have to.
Yes.
So thank us, please. But also, let me ask you this, Lord. Where do you think they're going with Phase 4? I mean, introducing the Eternals Thor 4 is going to be something interesting. And then you have a lot of the streaming services having, especially with Loki coming out, bringing in different timelines into it. You have Scarlet Witch being... before I get too deep into this, spoiler alert for all those that didn't watch things on Disney+. You've been warned. WandaVision, showing her becoming Scarlet Witch, quote-unquote. Captain America and the Winter Soldier, Sam becoming Captain America. Where do you think they're going with Phase 4? They can't really build up like they did before with 3 phases to build up to one villain.
Yeah. That's a good question, and I believe that I think that at some point, so I made a prediction before Endgame. I believe it was before Endgame. It might have been before Infinity War. That the events of the Infinity War are going to lead to the introduction of the mutants in the MCU. Now, I made that prediction not necessarily knowing about all of the... I believe that the news of the Fox merger had already happened and that the Disney's acquisition of Fox had already happened. I think that... So first and foremost, I was... Like, the X-Men are one of the central... It's just one of the central... I would say it's like the in the Mount Everest of Marvel characters, right? You got Spider-Man... is super Marvel. You've got the X-Men is just super Marvel. And I would... people can go back and forth, but Fantastic Four is kind of like the first family of comics. And so with those 3 all being out of Marvel's possession, they needed something. Because first and foremost, the fact that Marvel Studios took some of their least... And not that people disliked these characters, but some of the least liked characters, and made a successful, not just movie, but series of movies with them, was mind-blowing to me.
It's unprecedented.
Yeah, because, you make a Batman movie, people are going to go see it. You make a Superman movie, people are going to go see it. You make a Spider-Man movie, people are going to go see it. But if you told me, which you did, you told me that they were making an Iron Man movie back in like 2000, in 2005 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, I'm not going to go see that shit.
And I didn't know who Iron Man was when that movie came out. I didn't know he was a comic book character. I know they tried to start it off with the Hulk. I know that for sure.
Yeah,
I knew who the Hulk,
like people knew who the Hulk was. Yeah. I mean, people knew who Iron Man was, but I always hated Iron Man in the comics. Iron Man was not riveting to me. I think that like they tried to bring some to it in the Iron Man had an animated series in the 90s. To me, it wasn't that great. It was one of the weakest of the Marvel cartoon series. And so, it was always just left behind. I wasn't a huge fan of Captain America from the comics necessarily. He was there. I mean, he was admirable in most cases, but I wasn't like, man, Captain America. Like, I would have never been walking around with like a Captain America shirt on. But lo and behold, the MCU.
Would you still though?
Yeah, 100%. I have at least 3 Captain America shirts in my closet right now. I've got Captain America paraphernalia hanging up all throughout my house. Captain America is my favorite character, particularly Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson are 2 of my favorite characters from the MCU, hands down.
There we go.
But that was what the MCU did. Now, with that being said, X-Men was always this outlier, as was Spider-Man. Right. You know, there was all of this inter-studio drama happening. You know, Marvel had sold off some of their biggest names so that they can try and get themselves out of debt, you know, a couple of decades ago. And that was why we had the Spider-Man movies. That was why we had the X-Men movies. Now, for the time, they were solid movies. I would even argue that the first and second Spider-Man movies are still solid.
Those are so solid.
Now the X-Men movies, they were good for the time. I don't think that they've aged well.
No.
And the most recent X-Men movies, I just kind of, after Days of Future Past, I was just kind of like, bruh, like, I don't really like this. I didn't like Apocalypse. Apocalypse was pretty weak to me. I have not seen Dark Phoenix, but that movie looked like it was going to be bad. I did not like any of the casting decisions that they made for any of the characters when they kind of redid things. Logan
wait, which one? Which one?
The new casting decision. So when
I know. Which one in particular? Which one in particular? It isn't my girl Jennifer Lawrence, is it?
I mean, I don't have an affinity for Jennifer Lawrence like you do, but she was not. I didn't like her mystique. I did not like her mystique. Yep. You can shame me for it. You can say whatever you want to, but I didn't like her mystique. I didn't like really any of those characters. I think the only one that I kind of liked was old boy who played Beast, who played Hank McCoy. But even then, that was just kind of okay. Sophie Turner seemed like a really weird pick for Jean Grey.
Yeah,
but that wasn't among the worst ones. And I think the other thing about the X-Men that always bothered me was that they were always like, "What's the biggest story from the X-Men? Dark Phoenix." And so they always shoehorn Dark Phoenix into a movie as if it wasn't like, 50 comics that led up to this story.
Right, and they always forget that. It's a build-up to it, and they expect us to feel something all of a sudden. They did it in Apocalypse, where all of a sudden Jean Grey has this amazing power, and then they immediately go to, hey, remember what Jean Grey did at the end of Apocalypse, that crappy movie that you watched? Yeah, we're going to expand on that instead of some other stories where you can bring other characters like
instead of developing this is just going to come out of nowhere. So that's the thing that always annoyed me. So what I think that they are doing, now that they've brought in the Eternals, they also have the Fantastic Four movie confirmed. That
really
in 2024. So if you watch, there was already talks of a Fantastic Four movie, a different Fantastic Four movie, not the most recent one that we had.
You mean Fantastic Four stick?
Yeah, not the Fantastic Forced. They at the end of the MCU kind of like roadmap trailer, the big MCU Phase 4 trailer, there is the Fantastic Four is hinted at because the shape there's the blue 4 over the Marvel Studios logo. So Marvel Studios is going to be bringing us Fantastic Four, and what that means is that they are one step closer to finally having all of their properties back in the same universe, which I think is going to be the biggest triumph of this new phase. If, regardless of what they do, because I don't think that they can, it is going to be very hard to build up a villain like they did Thanos. I personally like the MCU Thanos more than the comic book Thanos because
100%.
Just because the comic book Thanos is, it's kind of funny that he has this infatuation with death and he wants death to like him, blah blah blah, and so he just wants to kill stuff. That's fine. I don't need a tragic backstory Thanos, but the way that they built up to Thanos and the way that they really established him in Infinity War, culminating in him succeeding in what he set out to do, it was brilliant. It was phenomenal. I love that Infinity War. It's not going to be easy, I feel like, to build up to some large overarching villain. There are only a couple of villains who could aptly fit that role of Thanos. Now, what I will say,
about Galactus. People have been talking about Galactus.
People have talked about Galactus. it is like if they do Galactus, I think with the Fantastic Four they could do Galactus. I think what would be more significant though is probably doing a good representation of Doctor Doom, because Doctor Doom.
Oh yeah, because he's a bad mother effer for those that haven't read the comics. He's the main antagonist for a lot of even a lot of collaboration comics.
Yeah.
As far as the main villain.
Yeah, and he's menacing, and they've always done a disservice to Victor Von Doom in the movie renditions. They did him dirty in the original. They did him dirty in the reboot, the first reboot, and yeah, like they really need to. I feel like if they do him justice, if they make him the character that he's supposed to be, it can be real sick. And so that's kind of what I want them to do. They don't have to do Victor Von Doom. They don't have to do a large overarching villain. That doesn't even necessarily need to be the thing. But I think ultimately what they need to do is, I think, establishing if they begin to establish a large interconnected universe the same way that they have in the comics, where all of their properties are back together, I would consider this next phase a success. That's what I'm thinking. I know they're talking 100%. About interdimensional stuff with the new Spider-Man
and Doctor Strange.
Yeah, and Doctor Strange with the multiverse. Yeah, like we're that's already being hinted to. They're already talking about that. Like you said, Wanda is now the Scarlet Witch, like she actually is, like she is in the comics. It'll be interesting to see how that all comes together. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like. I can speculate like everyone else over who the big villains are going to be, but honestly, I don't really care. I don't really care about that as much as I just want to see these properties come together in a really cool way. And
100%.
That's the thing that's the most exciting, I feel like, about this next phase of MCU and what they're now capable of doing. Now that they've come to these agreements with Sony and the acquisitions of Fox, you can say what you will about Disney, but hey, man, they can put out some good stuff sometimes. So
they really can.
That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say about the future of Disney and kind of what they've said, at least the MCU of Marvel Studios.
And I want to piggyback off that before we go to our next topic. Like, at the end of the day, what Marvel did that no other movie or series has done in a cohesive way is bring together a full universe. Mm-hmm. Being able to watch one movie, have it connect to another, and it all be coherent and all be in the same storyline. It's phenomenal. And the MCU has been the best about doing that. Other people have tried to copy it, but not to that same success. So, I mean, watching it all be canon in one story is phenomenal. I mean, imagine a Fantastic Four story and seeing what they dealt with after and before the snap of Thanos. Now, I enjoyed the first and second less to a degree of the Fantastic Four movies. I thought it was a good blueprint. They walked so that MCU could run, essentially.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. Flawed for sure. But having all these characters in the same universe, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, on how they do their crossover stories, because if you watch animated series like the X-Men, especially Spider-Man, having recently finished the Spider-Man animated series, mm-hmm. the crossover episodes are phenomenal. They take your knowledge of these characters and they put it into what you're currently watching, and you feel a sense of pride, excitement, and nostalgia for seeing these characters interact with each other. And the MCU has done that very well with all of their movies, tying them in together even in the smallest of ways. Mm-hmm. So it rewards you for paying attention to the continuity of each movie that is played.
Yeah.
And for Phase 4, I'm curious. I'm more curious to see what they do for a big baddie. Now, to Lord's point, they don't have to do a big baddie. But that leaves me with a question of what are they going towards? Because with Phase 1, 2, and 3, Phase 1, they weren't sure it was going to launch off as big as it did. They did the ending trailers or teasers, quote unquote, because they didn't want to take away from the overall story. The first Avengers movie was planned, don't get me wrong, but they didn't know if it was going to be a success or not with all these movies leading up to it. They wanted to make sure they focused on the movies individually, which played to their success. Now that we've seen that, 3 phases, we've seen it build towards something bigger with the success.
Right.
Are they going to do the same thing? And with that being said, they don't really have to either, because what this could do is branch out into other movies. Lord talked about the X-Men, talked about the Fantastic Four. You could talk about how you love the original X-Men, I'm not going to say original, but the live-action X-Men. I enjoyed it all up until Last Stand, and I'd say the last 45 minutes of it. And even Fantastic Four, but having those interconnect to the world that we're in, to an MCU fan, that is what you live and breathe for, because that's what made the MCU great.
Yeah.
So whatever they decide to do, I'm hoping that they keep that connectivity, that continuity, because that's what made the MCU great. Because when you look at other franchises like DC, for example, not the animated universe. The animated universe for DC is phenomenal. That's another video for another time. But that continuity is what rewards you as a viewer in keeping track of what you've known from each character over time. Yeah. As you grow, they grow. I grew with Iron Man from 2005 or whenever that movie came out to when he sacrificed himself at the end of Endgame. I grew with him. I understood how he came from a selfish playboy to a self-sacrificing leader. And I understood how Captain America went from this naive soldier to a symbol of justice at the end. And so, Phase 4, I'm interested to see what Marvel does. But to Lord's point, I hope that they keep the continuity of each as they now gain more and more properties. Marvel's in a very unique situation to where they have the power now, as they're selling up their stuff, to do whatever they want. Essentially, because all their movies make money. Whether you love them or hate them, their movies make money.
Yeah.
And we know that's what companies are looking at.
Right.
Like, the story could suck. I did not care for a couple of the MCU movies, but they all still made a huge profit.
Right. And
that's what's going to matter at the end of the day. So I hope Kevin Feige has a plan for the end of this. I don't know where it's going to end. He's given us all the movies. But even with the streaming services and stuff like that, I hope he gives us just a great state of play to what is to come with Phase 4. That being said, other companies that he's been working with have been making other moves to really showcase what they're made of.
I also got to point out, I see what you did there.
I got to do that as the Ranger.
Yeah. And as stated, the state of play. Sony just released their most recent update on what they have coming, right? It's basically just kind of a, Sony has their regular state of play releases that lets us know this is what we're working on. This is what we've got coming to you. And there were...
And come on, let's not downplay it. We know what's coming. You know what's coming. You know what's coming.
Some might say that as you look over the horizon.
Oh!
That the king, one of his favorites, is on the horizon.
Oh, not only on the horizon. I'm in the forbidden territory. I'm in the Forbidden West. I'm sorry. I got to take over from here. Oh, my gosh. All right. State of play. One of the games that has been featured has been Horizon Forbidden West. And if you know the Ranger better than a stranger, the King of Dreams looking so mean and clean, you know he loves his girl, Aloy. Aloy. Baddest bae. I'm her bae. I don't care. My baby mama listening to this like, what? Yeah, I'm sorry. Because Horizon Zero Dawn should have won Game of the Year over Zelda. Sorry, sorry, not sorry. Game of the year, debate me. Y'all too busy sucking on Nintendo's D. Because Horizon Zero Dawn should have won Game of the Year when it came out versus Zelda Breath of the Wild. Breath of the what? Breath of the fart? I don't care.
That wasn't even clever.
It wasn't clever at all, because I'm not trying to be clever. I'm trying to be direct. Being direct. But the state of gameplay for Horizon Forbidden West was some of the hypest gameplay I have seen. It takes you to a story, and it's not really spoilers, it's public information. But what they have done, which I want to praise, is that they've taken the basic gameplay of Horizon Zero Dawn and amplified it. Like a sequel does. They take all the good parts and they make them better and add a few new things to really spice up the gameplay. You got shields, you got a parachute, you got a glue gun, you got mother effing mecha raptors in this mother effer. And it's all gonna be glorious. I wanted to say go Power Rangers and make a mother flipping Megazord in that state of play. I'm not even playing the game, I'm calling out stuff. I can't wait to play this game. But Sony has showed what they are coming to play with, and they're coming to play for that Game of the Year. I'm voting for it right now. As far as Game of the Year, Horizon Forbidden West, mark my words, one of the best games you will play. I'm playing it as soon as it comes out. You won't hear from me for a couple days. I'm playing the hardest difficulty, yada, yada, yada. But the gameplay was phenomenal. You gotta swing it on a grappling hook. You gotta swing it from stuff to stuff, fighting the mammoth that she's trying to hit with glue. You got her doing stealth kills. You got her hitting the ground. You got her just taming a mecha raptor. A mecha raptor. Talk about clever girl.
I'm sorry. Could you say that again? What is it? It's a mecha what?
A mecha raptor? Mecha raptor? Mecha raptor. R-A-P-T-A-R. Ta. Mecha raptor. Like, look, you talking about clever girl. Clever girl. Like, look. Riding it. You got new mounts, you got new weapons, you got new mechanics, you got all new stuff. It is certainly a fan answer to a game that's beloved by those who have played it. And those who have played Horizon Zero Dawn know, not only has it won game, it should have won Game of the Year, but this sequel of the state of gameplay, I will be the first in line to buy this game. Graphics, we expect top graphics from Sony. We expect that. PS5 graphics, yes. But the gameplay, how smooth it looked, how you had to plan, just all the little mechanics that go into it. Oh my gosh, I'm drooling thinking about it.
I will say, yeah, I watched Horizon Forbidden West, in the state of play of that showcase.
Underwater combat. Sorry, I forgot that. Underwater combat. Continue.
And yeah, it looks clean. It looks fun. I know I'm going to break your heart with this.
Oh, don't do it. Oh God. I already feel it.
I wasn't completely impressed with the
preview. Oh, my heart. Jennifer Lawrence, I'm my girl Aloy. Oh, you slayed two of my bays. Oh God. Forgive me for the technical difficulties as I am going off the air.
I'm just. I'm just checking. Why? This is where you drop hot takes. I'm not. It looks cool, but I don't think it was. I wasn't wilding out over it.
Why?
The other thing is that, so here's the thing. I've been watching E3 in gaming conventions since I was maybe like 13, 14 years old, right? When it came on Tech TV at the time. Tech TV.
That's old as shit.
Yeah. Tech TV doesn't even exist anymore. But when I have seen throughout the years people giving quote unquote gameplay trailers of the games that are in development, live footage, actual gameplay. And that's what they said this is. I don't completely doubt them, but I just know that these companies oftentimes hype up the games more than they should. And until I see the finished product, until I see like actual like in game with a heads up display, all that jazz, like I'm not impressed. That's just the way it is. Because I've had enough times where developers showcase us different games and the end product does not look like that final product. Looking at you Ubisoft, but
and not just Ubisoft, you are on the Bethesda shit right there.
That Bethesda shit?
Bethesda hurts you bad. But you know who's not gonna hurt you? Horizon.
That's not even Bethesda. Bethesda is just buggy. Like Ubisoft is infamous for it, but it's not just Ubisoft. It's not just Bethesda. A lot of companies are like that. No Man's Sky.
Oh my gosh.
That was an indie game.
That was an indie game,
and
that
everybody was
nowhere.
Like, and dude flat out lied in multiple interviews. Like they were like, "Is there going to be multiplayer?" He was like, "Yeah, you'll be able to play multiplayer with your friends."
Dog, what a straight up lie! Like.
Yeah, he was like, we are right now. He was like, eventually, Doug,
he was on the interview, put his mic on mute, and was like, eventually.
Yeah.
Yes, you should be able to do multiplayer.
Yeah, like they was like, I felt like, see, the funny thing is that they've shamed this dude, they shamed this company really into making stuff happen that they did not intend to make happen. Like they were like, you said there was going to be multiplayer. They could have said the most outlandish shit. Like you said that there was going to be an 8-breasted Tyrannosaurus monster in this game,
and he would respond with, "Well, I did say."
He was like, "It's like, is there going to be an 8-breasted Tyrannosaurus monster in this game?"
Well,
yes,
there will be an 8-breasted Tyrannosaurus monster. Just not when you buy the game. It might come out in
DLC. He didn't. See, that's the thing. He didn't He didn't say any of that. He didn't say anything.
Sorry.
He didn't qualify that statement. He was like, not when you buy. He was like, yeah, there's going to be multiplayer. And just
what I was doing was I was playing what was actually going on in his head, because in his head is a true statement, because anything can happen with DLC. Anything can happen with DLC.
My man,
come on now.
People, when they bought the game, they were like, wait, is this game multiplayer? I haven't seen another player. Like, I haven't seen another player the entire time. And I've searched the entire galaxy.
The ocean ain't that big, my guy. Like,
yeah,
ain't that big.
They were like, I know there's like 100,000 planets or whatever, but we're on the same, I'm on the same planet right now. And it says that I'm standing in the same place that my friend is, and we're not on the same. I don't see them. So
now, on top of that, it's like, I know you didn't design 100,000 worlds. Let's be real. I know you didn't design. I mean,
it's easy when it's generated. You know, like that's what generation is able to do. But I'm like, don't lie to us.
Don't lie to me, bro.
I'm just gonna say that's how I feel about Horizon Zero Dawn. That's how I feel about any game, right? Until I see the raw gameplay with UI and UX and all of that jazz, until I see those things, even with companies that I trust, until I see it and I can confirm that it's gameplay, then nah, bruh.
Well, what I'm gonna say in Lord's response to Lord, for all our fans here, I believe in Bay Aloy. So when that game comes out, I will be personally streaming on our lounge whenever that time is.
All right.
For the Sly Guys.
All right.
So y'all know the greatness or shittiness of that gameplay. Like, we're gonna find out together, because it'll be live. Yep. It'll be live. It will be live. I will commit to the game card, recording, the study long session of when we are streaming that game, and I stand by Aloy more than Biden.
All right. Yeah.
I shouldn't be saying that on television.
All of that's all that's say. I mean, it looks interesting for sure. I'm going to be following it. I'm curious about, like I said, when it does actually come out. The thing with the state of play, the other thing that was in the state of play was Ratchet and Clank, and the thing about Ratchet and Clank is that's coming out in 7 days. So that and I could tell that was gameplay because it had the heads up elements. It had the HUD elements to it, right?
That's true.
And so that is much better for me to go off of than just, I'm seeing all this cool stuff happen. I'm getting excited. It certainly looked like gameplay. Is it the final gameplay? Probably not. So those are just that's just my thoughts. I know that's not what you wanted to hear, but hey, hot takes. That's what we're here to give.
That's what we're here to do, and it hurts my soul. But let's talk about another state of play. Let's talk about one that you grew up with, Mr. Lord. Let's talk about Ratchet and Clank.
Right.
What are your initial thoughts about that state of play?
So, from the state of play itself, it certainly looks like it's going to be a fun game.
Really?
Yeah. And I just explained why.
I know you did.
Like I literally just said it.
I'm going to be the psychologist in this. I'm going to defend it because you attacked my bae personally. I took it as a personal attack to my bae Aloy. But I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to be the bigger man and let that go.
Okay.
Let you talk about Ratchet. Because Aloy. Oh, Aloy. Oh! How she just tames mechanical objects. It's great. Before I get too far.
I guess. The whole thing.
Anyway, so let's get back to Ratchet and Clank. So let's talk about Ratchet and Clank. So what are your thoughts on the state of play for that game?
Like I said, it looks fun, and I think that says a lot because honestly, I haven't been like Ratchet and Clank was. I grew up with Ratchet and Clank. I played all of the first 4 games. It really fell off at about the 4th game for me. That was the point at which I was like no longer really in it. But the major thing is that somewhere along the lines, there was like a solid decade where Insomniac found themselves again. And they were like, all right, we're going to settle down. We're going to go back to making Ratchet and Clank a good game instead of just pumping out a new Ratchet and Clank game like every other year. And they did the reboot of Ratchet and Clank. I wasn't initially with it because one of the things that I did really like about the original Ratchet and Clank was that the original Ratchet was very unceremonious. He was also he wasn't edgy, but he wasn't your typical like, let's do the right thing, Clank. We've got to do the thing. The original Ratchet was a little bit of he was kind of a dick, and and I think
he was in it for personal gain.
And the new games seem a little bit. They take themselves a little too seriously, but gameplay wise, they went back to that original formula of what made Ratchet and Clank games. Somewhere between the Ratchet Deadlocked, which was the 4th console game of the series, and the Ratchet reboot, they had kind of got lost in like throwing in these gimmicks to the game that didn't really serve the game well. And it just seemed like they were just trying to throw stuff at the wall and it didn't work out. Now, in Ratchet and Clank A Rift Apart, you can see that there's a very clear gimmick in it, in that there are some Like there's this whole like rift mechanic. You can go into different dimensions, different things like that. But the way that it is tied into gameplay, it seems organic in that this is going to be a major part of the game. And so it looks fun, right? It looks like the original Ratchet and Clank games in that there are fun aspects to it. And that's what draws you to the game. That's what entices you about the game. And so with that being said, I'm very curious about this game. And like I said, it's coming out in like a week. So we already know that what this game is going to look like. We already know from the gameplay, you can see the UI, you see all the UX, you see all the things that makes you know that, okay, this is gameplay. Not just cutscenes, not just a rehearsed, a thing. Like people have said that, oh, this is live gameplay footage before.
They definitely have said that.
Yeah.
More than once. And
I'm gonna be 100. Like I'm not. So Guerrilla Games is their own developer, and they've been fairly trustworthy. They're the makers of Horizon Zero Dawn, and I'm not saying that I don't trust them. It's just that I've seen enough of people saying
I don't trust them.
No, it's just that I've seen enough of people saying that, oh, this is gameplay, this is how it's going to be like, okay, that's exactly what it's going to be like. I'm going to wait until I see the game. And I'm still saying the same thing for Ratchet and Clank. It looks cool.
It does. The gameplay looks smooth.
I'm genuinely excited. Like I'm genuinely excited about it. But I also am going to wait to see the game because, again, that's the beauty of a trailer is you can chop it and put it into the ways that you want to. They played an extended portion of what they called the opening. They obviously cut out some cutscenes because obviously you don't want to spoil the game or whatever. But it looks interesting. I'm interested to see what's going to happen. So yeah, this is one that I'm genuinely excited for, mainly because I feel like they're finally, like Insomniac, after kind of doing some soul searching, they kind of stepped back into who they're supposed to be between the Ratchet and Clank reboot, which turned out well, and the Spider-Man games. They're back on their way again, right? Like they've established themselves again. And the other thing that I'm going to say is that Guerrilla Games has only done... They only have two things under their belt. Killzone and Horizon. Horizon was good. It was a Game of the Year contender.
Oh, don't you dare. Don't you dare.
I didn't say that it didn't deserve to win Game of the Year.
I know.
I'm just stating facts.
I know.
I'm simply stating facts.
I know. You said facts. And look, you said contender, which is absolutely true. I am triggered because I'm a little hurt. So continue.
I'm not going to argue that it should or should not have won Game of the Year. Obviously, you're too emotionally invested in the situation to be objective. But
dog, if Aloy showed up in front of me right now, I'd put a ring on it, and she'd say no for sure because she's Aloy, and I'd be okay with it. And let's go to my baby mother and say, I propose to a video game character, and you have to be okay with that, and have her.
But she doesn't have to be okay with that. That's the thing about it.
She doesn't. It put me in a really bad spot. I know I would do it. If so. I am emotionally involved. Continue, sir.
With that being said, yeah, I'm interested. I'm intrigued. It looks fun. It looks like it'll be cool, but we'll see. Like I said, we got about I believe it's either June 10th or June 11th. It escapes me, but yeah, it's coming soon, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. With that being said, I think the bigger thing about the state of play is it addresses one of the major things that people have had with the new console generation is the lack of games. Now, we're well past the 6-month mark for the release of these games for these consoles, for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X1, whatever the fuck it's called. These games have been out, these consoles have been out for a while, and there aren't that many games to show for it. And that's been one of the major complaints that people have had, is the lack of games. And that's not a good thing when you're trying to get people to buy into, when you're trying to get people to buy consoles. So one of the problems, I would say, has been the lack of PlayStation 5 exclusivity, because there are things that PlayStation 5, there's things that are PlayStation exclusive, but in terms of being exclusive to the PlayStation 5, the single console, there are a lot of games that have been released for both the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5. And 100%. So, and of course, there's going to be mixed reactions to that. But in terms of the business of it, I've been asking, okay, when are they going to start releasing things that are just for the PlayStation 5? Because one, it's a bit much for developers to be releasing for these two different consoles. Certain games just did not work well on the PlayStation 4 when they were being designed for the PlayStation 5. You know, we talk about the disaster that was the release of Cyberpunk 2077, and
we haven't talked about it just yet because we can't talk about it. We will talk.
I'm saying Cyberpunk 2077 has been out for a while, and everyone knows that was a disaster.
It was, for those that don't know, it was a disaster, and we can.
My thing is, I don't know how you could be in video games and not know that, because for Cyberpunk, I wasn't that interested in Cyberpunk 2077. It looked cool. It was what it was, but people were frothing at the mouth for this game, right? People were like, this is going to be the game that sets a whole new standard for gaming. And people were going on and on and on about this game. And lo and behold, it was released after numerous delays, and it was absolute garbage.
Trash.
Absolute trash, yeah.
No, for those that stand by it and say, it wasn't that bad. Look, I know I had bad taste at one point in time. It's okay.
Yeah.
It can change when you have something that's actually good in your life. You don't have to have bad taste for all of your existence.
Yeah.
You can rise up above that. There is help out there for that. Look, for those that stand by the PS4 release of Cyberpunk, you're lying to yourself. I know it sucked and it crashed on you too many times. And I know that you are justifying it because Keanu Reeves was in it. You saw John Wick and you were like, hey,
that's the guy.
John Wick, he's the guy. Let me be this whoever. And you didn't even look at the dialogue in the story. I know you didn't because I did. And I was like, this shit's trash. I'm being honest with you, being real with you. I'm the guy that will wife up Aloy if she materialized in front of me. I keep it real with you. Look, keeping it real is more important than water.
Yeah.
More important than food. And for those that get the reference, I feel for you because you don't even know what's really going on. Because my cadence has even changed. I can't even change it back.
Yeah.
Look, if you're sitting here playing Cyberpunk on PS4 and you thought that was good, I feel for you. I pray for you. I beg Lord Jesus Christ for your forgiveness. Because I know you're doing other stuff in your life that ain't right.
Can we move on, please? all of that being said, this state of play, it's a light in a dark place for people that have been waiting for the new, for the opportunity for new games. And as people have been clamoring for the PlayStation 5 library to expand, it's beginning to happen. Now, it's beginning to happen a little bit later. I don't feel, at least in modern memory, I don't recall a console generation having this large a drought in new games upon release. Now, I'm sure that some of that has been exacerbated by the fact that we've been in the middle of a pandemic, and so people have had more time on their hands as it pertains to games. So, you can release a game, and where the average person, it probably would have taken them about a month or so to finish up. People have had way more time, and so you release a game, and people are completing these games in like a matter of weeks or so. Now, is that something that they should have planned for? Is that something that they could have planned for? Possibly. I think that these gaming companies have been acutely aware that people have had more time, and they've been encouraging people to stay inside and play games. And so I know PlayStation, Sony has been doing that, particularly by releasing certain games for free. And that's been a pretty regular thing. Now, in terms of having more games available at launch, anticipating more games being available even later on down the line, they most certainly should have anticipated that. They most certainly should have had that planned out more.
You would think they would.
You would think they would. You would think, but I think that was a lot of a very big lack of foresight when it came to this console release, because at this point, there have been a couple of people that have mentioned that their PlayStation 5 is just kind of a glorified streaming device, and that's fairly
makes
true.
Sense.
And
it's true because they had no exclusive games for sure for it. They had very few games that they could play on it.
I would say PlayStation has had more. PlayStation has more exclusive titles. The major thing, though, is I don't think that there's been any of either PlayStation or Xbox One Series X, whatever the fuck it's called. I know that's the third time that I've tried to say the name of this console, but I really don't like Xbox. But the whole point,
neither of us do.
But even then, but the thing is, Xbox, they haven't had a lot of games either, and so I feel like anyone who has bought either of these newest two consoles of this new gaming generation, they
way too much money. Sorry, you paid way too much money.
It was. I don't believe it was either of them were initially worth it. Down the line, we'll see. Obviously, these games that they're showing now look gorgeous. Both Horizon Forbidden West and Ratchet A Rift Apart look phenomenal. They look great. And you can tell that with the higher computing capacity that you can do so much more with these games. You can do so much more visually. You can have much denser ecosystems and life. It was really great really seeing all of these like cars and things like that really moving around, making that metropolis that you see in Ratchet and Clank A Rift Apart, in I think it's like Nefarious World or whatever the hell it's called, Nefarious Plaza. Like seeing all that come, it's like, man, that really looks like there's a lot going on, and that was really cool. Again, what that will mean for other games of the like, I'm really interested to see, and it's kind of sad that Cyberpunk 2077 flopped the way that it did, because it could have been that. It could have.
It really could have been, because the people that I know that have played through the entire game have absolutely raved about this game. They have loved the game despite its flaws, and we're a couple of sticklers when it comes to this. And the other couple of games we can talk about, like Red Dead Redemption, Red Dead Redemption 2. We can talk about the intricacies of gameplay when it comes to games this size, in the story that it tells. People that I know that have played this game love it, and I have nothing against you for it.
Right.
Especially those that have purchased the PS5 for way more than market value and only have one game to play. Like, look, you already have it hard enough knowing that you paid $200 more than what you should have paid for the device.
Right.
Look, I'm not going to break you down for that, but the game had its flaws, and the game was good on the PS5, but it wasn't good on any other console. And so the release had a lot of issues with it.
Yeah.
So for those, before you start going in the comment section, like, I purchased a PS5 and I got Cyberpunk and it was great. We're not talking about you, because you paid an extra $200 for a device and paid an extra couple hundred or however much you paid for Cyberpunk. We're talking about everyone else.
Yeah.
We're talking about the people that are experiencing these glitches, lack of gameplay, lack of games for a device they haven't fully purchased yet.
Lack of polish. Yeah, I mean, it's just there's a long list of issues with Cyberpunk when it comes down to it, and even on the PS5, these newer powerful consoles, even on PC, which is supposed to be the console master race, blah blah blah, it still had flaws.
Console master race.
Yeah, that's how people.
Console master race. Oh my god.
That's literally what people say. Like PC master race. Like PC is the greatest. Blah blah blah.
Yo, for all you PC lovers, go suck a D. Look at you. Okay, you have a great computer in your room. I know you masturbate to all the craziest types of hentai. Look, I'm not faulting you for it. But don't come at me about how you're the greatest console ever when your PC is way more expensive than I've ever paid on any of my consoles. Don't come at me like that. You spent over $1,000. I spent maybe $300 and less. Don't come at me like that. Of course, I hope you get the amount of money you paid for in that. And I sure hope you do, because the amount of nuts you're busting on the hentai you're watching on that stuff, yeah, you better get your money's worth, because I know you ain't playing just games on that stuff. Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, whatever you're playing Fortnite, whatever. Look, you better get your money's worth on that stuff on your PC. PC's always going to be better. You paid twice as much for the same thing that I did. You better have better quality than that. Don't come at me with that.
I'd be pissed. I paid $2,000 for a PC, and I was being outperformed by a console. Goodness gracious!
That's what I'm saying. Like, you talking like, I don't understand the argument with these people, these PC people. Look, I love you. Actually, I don't. I don't love you. That's a lie. I don't love you.
Yeah, it's annoying. I hate.
It's annoying as hell.
Elitism in general is terrible, but like the whole like PC elitism, like, yeah, I get it. You paid out of the ass for a PC, whatever.
But that's what you did, and none of y'all PC people will admit it, and that bugs the hell out of me. When you pay $12,000 or $1,200 for everyone else for a PC, I paid $300 for my console. Of course, I can't do the same thing that you do. You're masturbating while I'm playing. Like, you can't have multiple screens on a console. No, you can't. You're right. I don't have all that. Get off my nutsack.
Yeah, nor do I care. Understand. Like, at the end of the day, man, like, I just want to be able to, I love video games. I want to be able to play them. And, like, yeah, the whole, like, I understand people who are like, oh, but the HD graphics and the 4K and the 4K voxels, the 4K. I get it, bro. It's fun. Like, you want it to be gorgeous.
No, it's fun. No one cares.
It's whatever.
No one cares outside
just play
of
the game.
Room.
So
no one cares outside of your
all
room.
that to say that the gaming libraries are expanding. I don't know. Honestly, I don't feel like it's happening at a fast enough pace. There aren't a lot of games. there aren't a lot of games that are on the horizon, wink, wink, that are really worth that.
Aloy!
That are, there's not a lot of options, right? You've got Horizon coming out. You've got Ratchet and Clank coming out. What other things are coming out where it's just like, man, there's so much to be excited about? E3, I don't know if E3 is going to happen. I hope that E3 is going to happen this year. This is around about the time when E3 starts kicking off, where they're starting to make these announcements and things like that. I'm curious to see what they have coming down the pipeline. We will be paying attention over these next couple of weeks, as this is about the time when people start making announcements, because holiday season, this is the time where you start making those announcements of, okay, this game is coming out holiday season. This is the type of stuff that you want to be preparing for by the end of this year. This is the stuff that's coming out. And honestly, both Microsoft and Sony, they've got to start making announcements. Like, we need more than just 5 games.
100%.
And so to really justify these. And so, yeah, as of right now, there's not anything that I'm super excited for. And there's not anything where I'm like, man, buying a PS5 would completely justify this purchase. I'm not going to buy a PS5 just to play Ratchet and Clank or Rift Apart. I'm not going to buy a PS5 just to play. I'm not going to buy a PS5 just to play Spider-Man Miles Morales. You can Horizon Forbidden West. There is going to be a port on the PlayStation 4. So you don't need to buy a PlayStation 5 to play Horizon Forbidden West.
You don't have to, but I know I am going to buy a PS5.
And that's prerogative. And you can play that game, finish it up, and feel like a jackass because you still have a glorified streaming machine.
I will. And to Lord's point, as far as, because we see this with a lot of with a lot of new consoles.
Yeah,
the games are slowly coming out. The more high tech and the more complicated these games get, the longer they take. And one thing I want to add to the conversation between you and your peers as you watch this, the more complicated these games are, the longer it takes to develop. Because the price tag isn't changing on much of these. Let's be real.
Right.
Like, we are seeing that these games, when we went from PS1, I remember buying a PS1 game, it was $20 a pop. I would buy Digimon World 3 4 times because I broke the disc every couple of weeks because I was an irresponsible minor. And I was okay with that because it didn't cost that much to buy the disc. Now, the game didn't have much to it. Now, we get the PS2, $40, $50. Okay, more complicated game? Yeah, it costs a bit more money. PS3, we're up to $60 a game.
Yeah.
Now, we haven't seen much of an increase yet, and I'm sure we will as more of these titles come out. But, audience, we got to understand, this is my point to this. I know as time goes on, we'll probably release more games as far as these consoles are concerned. It will most likely take more time because everything we're asking for. Now, to all those typing in the comments, yes, technology has improved, but the amount of labor that it costs as a business to produce these games has also increased.
Yeah.
We don't see as many of these games come out, I believe. We don't see as many of these games come out as... we don't see as many experiments come out as far as for good games come out because it costs far more to develop and make a profit on these games to pay the people that to pay the people that even make these games. More of these companies, more and more are going for surefire things, which goes back to even Marvel, what we were talking about beforehand, of why they can pump out movies and other companies are trying to emulate what they're doing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they are trying to make money. They're a business. So when we're talking about the games that are coming out, I know that more games will come out as time goes on, but I feel the companies are going for surefire bets because it costs a lot of money to develop these games with the level of quality that they're trying to come out with for the new systems.
Right.
And I ask people to be a little patient, be a little, not a lot, a little, because I don't want to deal with a lot of BS, don't get me wrong. Hold them accountable
for sure for
a bad product. But let's all, think about what it takes to run a business at this level. Well, most likely, I would pay $80 for Horizon Forbidden West because it has a lot more going on for it than it did for its predecessor. especially with the new console. And we should all be prepared for that. Not saying accept it, be prepared for it. Because for the level of detail these games are asking for, and what we're asking for as a community, they are really working hard. I mean, I haven't met a game developer, like Lord Third's a game developer, and I haven't met another game developer that has been more just obsessed with their work for perfection. We're not even working with 3D graphics. We're working with 2D. Yeah. Like, these people are working day and night to make a quality game, and companies got to make money. Companies got to keep their green sheets green. They have to keep their investors happy. It's what it is. So, for all those, before they go on a tear, as far as just, oh yeah, they should just pump out game after game, let's take a second to think about, like, what goes into making a game of that quality. I don't know about you guys. I'd rather go for quality over than quantity, because I'm not about to pay $60 for 6 games that suck. I'd rather pay for 3 that are really good. That's just me. That's the Ranger.
Yeah, and I think I'll add on to that by just saying, I think gaming has evolved over the past 3 decades. It's no longer just a guy or two in a garage programming, something in their free time while they're working their day job. This is a full-on industry, just like King said. And, I think it's come out after this is becoming the common story of most big companies. But yeah, employees being overworked, right? Like we hear
all the time.
Yeah, we're hearing about it. Like, everyone knows how it is at Amazon, but we are hearing about it in the animation industry. We're hearing about it, like, particularly in Japan with anime. Like Japan has some of the best animators in the world, but these people are being worked. It's really unsafe conditions, right? Because they're working people to death. They've got these super high expectations on what you're supposed to perform. Also, it's some of it is a cultural thing of, in Japan, work culture the expectations in work culture is very high. Like, there's no room for error. There's no margin for, falling behind. And when you feel like you aren't living up to that or being on that level, then there's a lot of pressure that comes with that. And there's also a lot of unhealthy environment that is created because of it. And the same is true for a lot of these companies, right? Rockstar Games, CD Projekt Red, different previous and current employees have spoken out about the bad, kind of a toxic work culture where people are being overworked and underappreciated. And yeah, and some of it comes down to fans, just like King was saying, clamoring for these companies to release something, to put something out. It takes time to make these games. You've got AAA development has can have hundreds and thousands of people working for them. You look at the credits of a AAA game and you see all of the people that's in those credits. That's a lot of work. There's a lot of work that goes into that. And yeah, and I want to clarify that I'm saying to, like, my expectation is not to the game developers to, like, have something to show for what they're doing. It's really for these publishers to have something to show for what they're doing. And particularly, I'm talking about for making the purchase of, say, these new consoles, right? If we're paying $500 to $700 for a console, I should be getting my money's worth. More than just watching Netflix. Because I can watch Netflix on my PlayStation 4, right? Like, I regularly watch Netflix
or smart TV
and Hulu.
Or your phone.
Yeah. I'm not a plebe, so I don't watch things on my phone unless it's a YouTube video. I'm just
shots fired. Shots fired.
No, I'm gonna be 100. I can't watch a show or a movie or something like that unless I'm like unless I'm like sitting comfortably and it's like away from me. I can't watch stuff on my phone. I can't do that, bro. I just can't. I don't even watch stuff like on my computer or my laptop. The only time I'm watching a show is like sitting in my living room in front of my TV. That's the only time that I can like comfortably watch something. Because
you use your phone for real stuff.
I'll use my phone to like watch a YouTube video, like a short one. I'll use my phone to, the message or something like that. But I can't watch a show I've never opened Netflix on my phone. I've never opened a streaming service on my phone.
That's crazy. I just did it just now looking for Jurassic Park.
I know.
It ain't on there. It ain't on there, folks. Jurassic Park it was on there, and now it's not.
You can if you wanna watch Jurassic World, I have that on DVD and Blu-ray.
I have Jurassic World on DVD. I want Jurassic Park. I want the original Steven Spielberg.
All right,
phenomenal movie. I love Chris Pratt.
You want to be an elitist here? No,
look, I love me some Chris Pratt. But when I watch Jurassic World, all I'm thinking of is just like, first off, how are you running in front of T-Rex with all the meals? Why are you? I have too many questions. Why did you check the dinosaur's location while you were in the laboratory? Why did you check all that? You're a CEO. You're supposed to be smarter than everybody.
That's a conversation for another time because we got sidetracked as hell. All that to say that I think we just need to make sure that our expectations are in the right place, right? I'm not. And I'm just trying to be real. My thing is, I can't justify a purchase of a PlayStation 5 right now. I can never justify the purchase of an Xbox system. But
it sucks.
Yeah, and yeah. No,
I had to.
That's. I'm glad that you got my alley-oop because that's precisely what I was setting up. So, but I cannot justify a PS5 purchase right now because it is it's too expensive and not enough return right now.
100%. And for those that listen to this, I would buy a PS5 for Horizon Forbidden West, but that's because I love the game and because I bought a PS3 for the sake that Kingdom Hearts 3 was supposed to come out on that. We saw how that turned out. Not very well. And that's a video for another time, by the way. But
we've already talked about we've shitted.
We didn't go deep enough into Kingdom Hearts 3. I got more to say on Kingdom Hearts 3.
That's fair.
But point is that look, everybody, the consoles are new, and they don't have a lot of games out. But this is not anything new we haven't dealt with for years. When the PS2 came out, I remember playing not Tomb Raider, but Dragon Ball Z Budokai. I had one game for that, and it was out for a minute. The libraries increase as time goes on, and it makes it more viable for the console. As more games come out, the console will be more viable. But right now, everyone, check your wallets. You don't need to be paid $500 for a glorified streaming service. These games aren't even out yet. Give the company time to put out some more games. Give the company time to put out some quality before you invest your hard-earned money on something that doesn't give you the yield of the money you spent on it.
Yeah.
There's just no reason for it. And that's what Lord and I are trying to convey. At the end of the day, is the graphics going to be amazing? 100%. But the game ain't even out yet. I know I'm already in love with Horizon Forbidden West, and I'm never going to say the game's going to suck because I'm too deep in this love for the game. But if the graphics suck, you won't hear it from me. But it could happen.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. The games aren't even out yet. The gameplay is sus at most. So, take your time, listen to us, research it for yourself. We'll help you get to where we're at, to get to where you need to be when it comes to buying these new consoles. Because I mean, we're Sly Guys. That's what we do.
Yep. And with that being said, I think it's about time to wrap up. Because
wrap it up.
I'm Lord Third, your number one trash player. The garbage goat, Jackie's Bay.
Only Jackie's Bay. And I'm the Ranger, no better than a stranger. I'm the king of dreams, looking so clean and mean, and I'm sitting here with my 10 rings. And we are...
The Sly Guys, delivering the hottest of hot takes on all things nerdy and culture. And we are out.
Peace and love, everybody. Can't wait to see you on the next episode.
Peace and love.